How's your prayer life? That's the question that hit me square in the face today when I was reading the end of Luke chapter 10 into Luke chapter 11. Shane, how's your prayer life? Or let me say it a different way. Shane, how are you doing with just being in the Lord's presence, as opposed to doing things for the Lord? I've struggled with that for the last 20 years. I know in times you've heard me in videos refer to myself as a recovering legalist. I also am a recovering workaholic. Doing things for the Lord is something that I've done for many years. I've done quite a few things, and frankly, in many ways, I've done it really well. But several years ago, the Lord brought it to my attention that I'm really good at doing things for Him. I'm just not really good at doing things with Him, of being in His presence, of sitting at His feet. Luke chapter 10, Jesus begins the chapter by sending out the 72 on their mission. He then tells the Good Samaritan principle right there in the middle of the chapter. So deeds, and then at the end of chapter 10, something shifts. Chapter 10, verse 38. As Jesus and His disciples were on their way, He came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to Him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what He said. You know, there's a lot of things that can be added after your name. There's a lot of labels, positive and negative. There's a lot of descriptors, positive and negative, that can be added right after your name. But may it be said of me what was said of Mary, the sister of Martha. Mary was a woman who sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what He said. Prayer, a lot of the time, has to do with proximity. Putting yourself in the place to engage the presence of the Lord. Prayer has more to do with proximity than posture. It has more to do with proximity than what you say. It has more to do with proximity than even the length of time. Prayer has to do with positioning yourself at the Lord's feet to simply listen, not to wax eloquently, not to fill the space or the silence with the sound of your own voice or thoughts, but to sit at the Lord's feet and to listen. Then listen to verse 40. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. Martha was distracted by doing things. See, the reality is, for most of my life, what follows Martha's name follows my name. Sometimes the greatest distractions in our life are the deeds that we are doing for the Lord, on behalf of the Lord. And typically, we get so focused on doing things for the Lord that we even then start to compare ourselves to the people around us, asking ourselves the question, are we doing as much as they? Or even worse, are they doing as much as us? Martha does the same thing. She came to Jesus and asked Him, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Tell her to stop sitting at your feet and to start doing things. How often in our own seasons of insecurity, where our insecurities are fueling our actions more than our love for the Lord and our freedom in His grace, how often in our insecurities do we accuse others of either doing things not the way that we think they should be done, or not doing enough. If you spend most of your time sitting at the feet of the Lord and listening, you find that you don't have a lot of time to compare your deeds to someone else. Verse 41, Martha Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed, only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. It's a humbling thing to realize that the Lord does not need my work. He's delighted. He's delighted by the gift that I give. But the Lord needs my work like I need my child's scribbles that they do at Sunday school. No, in order to decorate my home, I don't need another picture made of crayons. But when I receive it, I smile and give thanks for it. But I'm asking for something deeper. Intimacy with my child. Presence with my child. Proximity. How's your prayer life? When I ask that question, what I'm not asking is, how long do you sit and think and meditate and pray? How long do you write in your journal? How long is your prayer list? That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking about posture. Do you get on your knees? I'm asking about proximity. Do you find yourself sitting at the feet of the Lord simply listening? Or do you find yourself doing and comparing and complaining? My prayer for you this week is that you will be content with whatever is accomplished throughout each day. Because what you are measuring most is proximity to the Lord. My challenge for you this week is to simply sit and listen. Don't measure your prayer time. Just sit and listen. Put yourself in a position that's close to the Lord so that ultimately He can do the work of prayer that needs to be done in you. I love you guys. Have a good week.